Every family has its highs and lows, and when you're in that low place together, it's important you rally together. My next guest says when families go through the hard stuff, resilience matters. Studio 5 parenting contributor Heather Johnson is joining me with 5 ways parents can teach resilience in the home. Good to see you, Heather.
You too.
So this is a great topic. It's a topic, though, that as I thought about it, have only heard applied to individuals, like be resilient. When you're going through a hard time, dig up some grit, rally, be resilient. You're applying this to a group of people. You're applying resilience to a family.
Yeah, to an entire family. And what we're starting to see more and more is the research actually shows us that we build resilience in groups. That is the best place to build resilience. And
not as individuals.
Not as individuals. Now, that doesn't mean we don't need it, and it builds as individuals as we're doing it as a group. But when a group comes together to share a burden, we build resilience. And so we want to look at our families and realize that this is an ideal place to build this ability to be resilient.
How do you define resilience? Is this a bounce back? Is this a grit?
Yeah, we could use those words. It really is a mental ability or a psychological ability to handle things when they get challenging. But even more so, resilience means that we build up this mental reserve that we can draw upon when things get hard. And so we want that mental reserve. That's what we also want to build. When we look at families, we tend to think that they're linear and not recognize that they're a circular system. And what we mean by that is whatever I do today does have an impact on my family. And if I'm struggling, it impacts them.
Absolutely.
And if our 7-year-old has a rough day in 2nd grade, it impacts all of us. You know, we hear from teenagers a lot. They'll say, well, why does what I do matter? It's my life. It doesn't impact everyone else. But whatever a family member does impacts everyone in that family. So we need this resilience because when I'm struggling, that then puts something on everyone. We need to come together to rally.
I love how you phrase that because we've tried so hard the last 10 years, and there is truth in this, so I want to be careful how I say it, but we've tried so hard to say as a parent, you know, it's not about me, like this, what my child chooses or how my child handles it, and there is truth in that.
There is, absolutely.
But also this circular connection that you've described, there are ripple effects, there are emotions, there are personal fallout from that group impact.
From that impact, right, of each individual family member. And when we talk about it not being about us, we're referring to the fact that other people or our struggles that happen in a family system, that doesn't have to mean that I'm worth less or I did it wrong,
there you
right?
go.
That's what we're talking about. So you're right, it isn't about me. Our daughter's struggles in math or how she uses her agency, that doesn't necessarily mean something negative about my worth, me being enough.
Good clarification.
But it does not take away the fact that when she struggles, that then is also a part of my life. And when my husband is having a long week at work, that also impacts our home.
Yes.
And so we want this resilience. We want it everywhere.
Just the visual of the circular versus linear, because you go grandma, grandpa, mom, dad, you can march down a linear family line.
Right.
That's what the word linear means, I know that. But the circular image just conjures up a real power and a real unity that I think is so important.
Well, and it opens our eyes to working together, right? When we look at linear, we're looking to put essentially blame somewhere. When we look at a relationship linearly, then we're in a position where we're going, no, well, I did it because you did it first. I mean, think about your children, right?
Yeah.
Well, I did this because you did that. Well, I did that because that's a linear approach to a relationship. Instead of realizing that the decisions we make today are a byproduct of our entire lives and how we've interpreted them and how they've all come together.
This is so good,
today.
Heather, so good.
So it bonds us that way. It brings us together.
Let's talk about how we can promote or teach or develop, curate this resilience in our family units. You say first we have to have a cooperative family culture.
We do, which means we're going to focus on 2 things, the 2 things that matter most, and that is relationships and values. A cooperative family puts relationships over everything. It matters most. And a cooperative family system or nurturing this cooperative family means that we look at not just the relationships, but we establish values, we set those values up, and we make our decisions based on that value system. This means if we're cooperative that we share work, it means we share play, it means we make contributions. Don't worry about chores. Let's teach our families to make contributions. When we make contributions, we cooperate. When we cooperate, we make a really, really good team.
Don't worry about chores.
Don't worry about chores.
Worry about contributions.
Yes, let's make contributions in our home instead.
Yes, yes. You say as we strive to build resilience as a family, we can leverage our strengths toward this goal.
And we don't often think this way, right? But imagine if we were in tune enough to recognize the strengths that each of our family members had, right down to our littlest and all the way up to, grandparents, great-grandparents, anyone we have access to. And when things were challenging, we took a step back and instead had conversations about how we could take everyone's strengths and how those strengths could be used to deal with the struggle. Imagine if we knew each other that well. Or if you even sat down and made a list in your home of the strengths and they were prominently displayed on your fridge or somewhere where people could see them.
What a good exercise.
And when something got hard, it was, well, you know what? Dad's really good at this. That's going to help us with this challenge. And that 7-year-old's really good at this. And so she can contribute that strength to this challenge. We want to be leveraging the strengths.
If resilience is what we want and need when things go wrong, you're pointing us, though, to the beginning. You say it matters when things go right, how we show up and how we react.
Did you know that relationships build stronger when we support one another when things go right, opposed to when things go wrong?
I believe it.
It is the coolest. It isn't about, we do need to show up when things go wrong.
Of course.
That's not what we're saying. But there's stronger relationships built when someone comes to us and we're able to sit and savor what went right. We don't often know how to support that. Oftentimes we make it about us, we shift the conversation to us, or we're not sincere and we blow it off. But we need to show up when things are going well. When someone shows up and said, I did really great at this today, we need to know how to actually genuinely support what goes right. That will build more resilience because it builds stronger relationships.
I love that you use the word savor. Savor those moments when things go right.
When they go right.
Marinate in them, use them, leverage them.
And sit in them with our family members. That's so great. I'm so glad you did great on your spelling test. That's awesome. And we move right on to something else. Instead of actually sitting with them and going, talk to me about this.
Yeah.
This is so great.
As we build resilience, that speaks to kind of this growth mindset. How can we cultivate that growth mindset on the daily in our homes?
Growth mindset means that we are willing in our families to talk about mistakes and that they're okay. That we see mistakes as learning opportunities. That we teach our children that failure isn't just something that we have to deal with, but it is imperative for success. This is a growth mindset. It's an opportunity to be sincere in our feedback. A growth mindset means that we teach our children how their brains work so that they know they can be in control over how they think about situations. That's a growth mindset. We want to foster it.
In our 1 minute left together, teach me how authoritative parenting translates to resilience in families.
Yeah, if we want to summarize that, we hear that word all the time, right? An authoritative parent does a really good job at creating a balance between support and freedom. If you want to put kind of 2 words in the back of your brain as you're running your household and loving your family, balance out support and freedom. It's a really, really great place to be, to start and finish. To be able to look and say, how do I support you and also give you autonomy? How am I always there for you and also allow you to fly? If we can balance that support and freedom at the same time, we've done a really good job creating an environment where our children and our families can come together and develop that resilience so that we have the mental reserve to draw upon when life hits us, and it does, and it won't stop. The challenges will not stop showing up. So we want our families to know what to do when they show up.
Sheesh, Heather, I don't know if I'm sleep deprived or what, but your words hit my heart today and they rang very true. Thank you so much. Heather has a private practice. She counsels individuals and families. We'll link you to her contact information on our website. Thank you again. Great job.